Welcome to another installment of This Is Not Normal on the Political Drain podcast with Drill Sergeant Doug, aka Admin Doug, a U.S. Army veteran, teacher, musician, and family man from Jamaica, now fights for justice and democracy through commentary and humor. Follow him on YouTube at Political Drain and at Sons of Liberty Official as Drill Sergeant, aka Admin Doug, continues to protect our freedoms.
All right, that's it. I'm done. I don't care if I get canceled. I already know people are gonna go ahead and cancel me right after I say this. Right after I say the thing. Because that's exactly what I'm expecting to happen the minute that I say the thing that everybody knows that needs to be said, but they're gonna cancel me anyway, so I don't care, because I'm done with it. I'm finished. I'm gonna say the thing. And this thing that I'm gonna say is, listen. Don't even think about, I'm not listening, I'm not reading, I'm not writing back, I'm not responding to your messages. Cry about it, and I know I'm gonna get canceled. So I'll take that. Because I'm big enough to take the cancellation. No big deal. But I'm gonna say the thing. The thing is, water is wet. I'm sorry. It's an inside joke. YouTube, what's up? This is Drill Sergeant here. That inside joke is what usually comes, or what would come after somebody tells you about, they know they're going to get canceled and they can't wait to get canceled, but they're going to say it, and the whole, monologue. Not that they don't mean it or do mean it. What usually comes after that is, it's time for revolution. They're going to cancel me. And the left has, a PR mindset where they don't like to talk about that, on MSNBC. But that's not that unique of an idea right now. Water's wet, man. Now, what are you gonna do with it? You see, somebody says that, and that joke, it's inside. Y'all know if you know. If you don't know, that's what comes after that. What comes after that is, we need to have a revolution. Why haven't we been in the streets and just, picking up arms already? This should have been done. Yeah, you're right. No shit. Yeah. You're not going to get canceled because everybody's thinking it. You're saying it because everybody's thinking it. And so that's why that's a joke, really. Because usually when people say that, that's where it ends. Well, everybody knows that there needs to be one. Nobody knows how to go about it. That's the video that you need to make. If you're going to make it, then make that video. The problem is, you see, we asked this question, why hasn't anybody gotten into the streets yet? And instead of asking it legitimately and then answering it, you leave it there. Here's how we do this. I asked the question, why hasn't everybody gotten in the streets with arms yet? And then I think about the answer to that. Well, people have children. They don't want to die. People don't have training. There are no leaders. People are hooked to their jobs for their health care and for sustenance in a place that works you to the bone and hasn't raised the minimum wage since forever. Many people live in red states where they are surrounded by people who enjoy the cruelty. Many people are dejected because they don't know that if they do have this revolution, then there's going to be people on their own side with big D's by their name, Democrats, that are going to condemn them when they get there to Delaney. because there's propaganda going on the internet, because if you actually answer that question instead of asking it as an open-ended why not, I promise you what's going to happen after that is you will find the answer to that question. So instead of that, because that is a joke, it's just a joke. It's a joke. It's a way to keep people listening for 4 minutes when you hear someone saying that. That's all that is. And it doesn't mean that they're insincere, but it's a waste of a video. Because at least in this one, in the first 5 minutes, I've answered one of those questions that I've asked you. And I've got you to think about how maybe can you go about doing this thing that we all know needs to be done by rectifying those things that I mentioned in the answer to the question, why hasn't it been done? There's a reason. It's not because people are lazy and don't care. It's because those people don't have the leadership, the training, the way to leave the job. But there's another story. Here's one. We should have had this revolution in the 60s. Before that. Because there was a group of people who were getting lynched, who were getting thrown into the same type of situation that the modern day concentration camps are doing. As a matter of fact, there's an entire amendment in the Constitution that still allows those people to be slaves once they get behind bars. That's us. We've been under totalitarian rule since then. And it took a whole lot of time, a whole lot of fighting, and a whole lot of incremental steps and all of that. But everybody was okay with it because it wasn't them. And the people who weren't okay with it went down to where the fight was, joined with the leadership, and did that. Before we got the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, black people voting was around the same as everybody else, maybe even a little bit less because they were dejected and apathetic and didn't believe it did anything. After the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, black vote went up to 90%. 90%. They said, look at what we've done. We're hungry for this. We're hungry. We've been fighting for this. We've been hung for this. We've been beaten for this. After that, it went down to 85. And the next few elections, it hovered around 80. Right now, it's back down to where it was before then. Not because of any, excuse that I can give you or blame that I can give you. Either way, the reason why is because when your bellies are full, the people who grow up now know that they have a vote. They also, everybody has, you got your color TV, you got a car, you got a little garage. Yeah, maybe you get just enough of insurance from the job, you got your glasses, and it didn't cost you as much as it would cost somewhere else. And you don't see much change or much things happening because you're used to having the right to vote. And at that point, you say to yourself, you know what? I'm good. I don't see them doing much. I don't see a reason. And that's maybe the issue. Because right now, if you're going to go out and do the R word and overcome all of those things that are the answer to the question, why aren't they out there? In order to overcome those things, it's going to have to get bad enough and fought for enough and enough people hung enough and enough people beat up enough and enough mouths unfed to where it makes sense to not go to work anymore. Because you're already under threat. You're already dying. We're almost there. The bellies aren't full. The gas is high. Don't call for a revolution. Tell people what to do next time. Tell people how to go about planning. Maybe, do you have a sport shooting club in your area? You should. Big Sarge's been talking about it. If you're going to do something, just go do it then, and be in secret. Find people who will raise their hand to be in secret with you and plan and strategize. I happen to know that data centers need electricity, right? But if you're not about that, if you can't do that, then at least answer the question when you ask it, or expect an answer. That's how you do this. I'll have more for you later. But yeah, either do it or don't. But if you're going to ask the question, why hasn't it been done? There's a reason why. Start working on those things. Because until, I'm going to be honest with you, the reason why the black folks stopped voting, the reason why you get the apathy is because people are tied to the life they have and doing what someone asks of them in that capacity could make sure that their kids don't eat. And that's a hard question to ask if you don't have the leadership or the plan to feed them, or the funding, or the armory, or the barracks, or the tents, or the MREs. What are you talking about? Yeah, no shit. It is time for that. It's been time for that. But we've always chosen another way until somebody gets bit by dogs and sprayed with hoses. Then at that point, when the fight is either die or fight, they'll fight. I'll spend my time in the meantime preparing, training, and getting people ready to do the things that need to be done to answer the question, why haven't they been there? Because I mean it earnestly. Not that anybody else doesn't. But asking the question open-endedly and then raising your hands and expecting people to pour out of their doors and look around with a frickin' bewildered deer in the headlight look on I don't know where to go and how to do this doesn't mean much. Water is wet. We know. How do I use it? You're going to shower with it? You're going to drink it? You're going to save it for later? You're going to wash something with it? Water is wet is not a proper response. Tell me what to do with it. You can join Drill Sergeant Spec Ops. I'll help you figure out what to do with it. You can join Sons of Liberty. Sons of Liberty. We can help you figure out what to do with it there. How to gain community. How to have those understand who's a leader and who's not. Maybe have people understand who can do this and who can do that. Meet people in person. Maybe start in your neighborhood. Either way, I've been saying that all the time. This was just to address the joke.
That was the Political Drain podcast, which can be heard on www.groovechillradio.com/political-drain and can be viewed on the Political Drain YouTube channel anytime. Once again, thank you for listening to Groove Chill as we resist fascism in any form, pursue democracy, peace, and love.